Hello, forgive the handheld and weird audio. I just wanted to show something real quick and didn't want to connect everything back up and bring in the video and all that. So, what you're looking at here is the practice sketch of a praying mantis. If you Google praying mantis, this will be one of the first image results. And what I did is just sketch out the mantis, and then at some point in the video I'm probably going to say, oh, simplify the shapes. So what I mean is this. Looking at the head here, weird detailed shape, and then when you break it down, it's just, a little cheese wedge, and then it's rounded, and then you can put on the details like the antenna and the eyeball. And I just practiced up here with a different perspective of the head, and rounded it out again. Same with the neck. Just put in the cylinder, add the bumps. The body is just a bean shape or an oval. Add the detail, all that stuff. So just break it down into shapes like that, and then it's way easier to move that around. And then the other pages here are just trying to figure out how to draw hands and concept sketch and more prayer hands, and then there's guy. So that's just what I wanted to show, and back to normal programming now. Bye-bye.
Hi, thanks so much for sitting through that handheld camcorder footage. I just really wanted to take an opportunity to show firsthand what I was talking about and point out examples rather than record something and try and time my commentary over it in the appropriate time slot like I normally do. So, back to business as usual here for the rest of the video, but I hope that opening kind of showed what I was talking about with moving around simple shapes being much easier than moving around the detailed and textured shapes. So, what I'm doing here, I'm just drawing a praying mantis creature. This is for Inktober. Inktober is a Instagram account run by this guy named Jake Parker, and he's been doing this for years. The normal conceit is in October, you will get 31 prompts over the course of the month, and you draw every single day. It's kind of a push to make sure that the person who is trying to get better at drawing or engage in art more frequently has something to keep them accountable, because you post it to social media and kind of publicize that you're doing it, right? And it's also to keep the creative juices flowing and show you all of the different things to draw that you might not consider. Like the prompt here is praying mantis, but they can be very abstract. Like I remember some are swift, juicy, shadow, things like that. And you just draw whatever comes to your head. That's a normal thing. Now, Inktober 52 is a little spin on it that they're doing where 52 weeks in a year, every week you get a new prompt. I like this because, just like I mentioned, if you run out of ideas or need a little inspiration, then you'll have something midweek they post on Thursdays to follow and try out. But it gives you plenty of time to flesh out an idea, workshop some ideas. The big thing that can be stressful about Inktober is that if you're really busy on a day, or if you don't have time to draw, or if you draw something and you feel it's underdeveloped, the whole idea is, let go of it and just post it and be proud of what you've made. And that can be really difficult. 52 gives you full 7 days to workshop, scrap ideas, try new stuff, see what you like the most. So I'm a fan. I don't participate in every single week, but this time I thought, I don't really know what I want to do next, so let's participate in the prompt. My goal for this drawing, or my goals, were two specific things. I'm trying to keep an active mind when I draw about what I'm hoping to practice or learn from that particular drawing. In this case, I had two goals. One was my ongoing goal of developing my sense of shading and my sense of value with pen. I mentioned it in the past, but I approach things, or try to approach things more mindfully with how the volume of the object and how the curves of the object would impact how I might go about shading it. So that was number one here. That's probably going to be my main focus for a while, and something that I try to keep an active mind on whenever I approach a drawing moving forward. I assume the goal is keep it in your mind and keep it active when you need to, and eventually, when you practice enough and when you keep it at the forefront of your mind enough, it'll become second nature. So I am trying to develop a sense of this so I don't have to stress about it every single time, or not stress, but think about it in a more engaged way every single time. The second thing that I was trying to keep in mind was what I mentioned earlier in the very beginning in the intro of moving away from reference and being able to build more complicated creatures or subjects or whatever I happen to be drawing through the breakdown of the form into basic shapes. For example, that praying mantis that I sketched out, that was from a Google image search. It'll be the top result, as I mentioned. And when I break that down into the oval in the cylinder and the wedge of cheese shape for the head and all that, it was really a lot easier to just turn this thing around. And now this particular drawing is from imagination. I did reference how a praying mantis leg bends and stuff for my sketch, but I didn't have to look at the photo as I was drawing, and I didn't have to find a picture of a praying mantis in a pose that I wanted my drawing to be in order to accurately draw it. I knew what shapes went into it. I was able to get them on paper and then add details slowly. And this is probably like day one shit to a lot of artists, but keeping an active mind on it, it was really helpful to make this one come to life a bit more. As for how the shading is going, I'm using stippling, which is, I think, easier to make gradation shifts. So you can see on that back leg there, right? I have relatively even spaced dots to show that it's just in shadow. It's in the back. And now on this front leg, doing light dots to show it's closer and it won't be as shaded. But what the thing is, the trade-off for being able to have a finer control over the gradation is that this takes forever. So while it might be more difficult to do lines, or at least it's more difficult for me right now because I'm not practiced enough, you can still get a very good effect with just parallel lines and perpendicular lines and your standard hatching. But this time I just wanted to do the stipples, and I kind of like the aesthetic of the dots. I think it looks nice. For all that talk of avoiding reference photos, one thing that I would do differently, because by the time I was finished with this, I was just kind of in a rush to be done and satisfied with how everything looked. And I feel as though the texture of the shell or the carapace, its wings or whatever on the back, I have no idea. The little hard part of the shell. When you're drawing stuff, don't take a photo and draw the photo exactly, but look at a photo to see what the material is supposed to be. So I was just kind of guessing here on where the ridges were and where things would come out of the shell and where they would dip back in and different stuff like that. I kind of wish I had a photo up in front of me so I could have said, oh, okay, here's where lines go, here's where it might be more shaded, these things aren't actually connected, stuff like that. So break your form down to draw it and then look at a photo to get the material. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do really appreciate your patronage. Please consider subscribing, commenting. I'd love to hear any feedback, and have a great day. Bye-bye.